Art Sherpa, and today we are going to be finishing part 2 of this gorgeous step-by-step painting class. So we're painting a really vibrant ocean sunset with great clouds and nice foamy waves, and it's just that kind of vacation painting that you always want to do when you go on vacation and you capture that perfect sunset that you never ever forget. So that's the painting that we're doing today, and we're going to be breaking that down step by step. To help me do that is my husband, John.
Hello.
He's going to be making sure that the camera is pointing at my canvas, or that you can see the palette for color mixes, so that every part of the education process is clearly visible to you at home. Because we find that really helps you guys. If you can see it, you can generally do it. Now, if you're here for the live chat, because this is a live streaming show, be sure and put your questions in all caps. Nobody will think that you are yelling at us. The moderators are really art ambassadors, and they will help answer your questions, help direct you to the video that answers your question. But maybe you might see your question get answered live in the show. If you're here on replay and you have a question, put it in the comments below. I check my channel all the time. And so I probably will see your comment. I try to get to as many as I can. There's a lot of them, but I try to get to as many as I can. So definitely put your questions down there. And I don't know what else to say to you guys other than let's jump on in and go over the materials again.
We can do that.
We're going to do that. Go over the materials again. All right, so the materials, this is a 12 by 12 surface. We have done part 1, which is the sky, already in a previous video. So if you're looking for that, there's part 1, and I'll make sure that it's in the iCard and in the description and in the comments of this video, so you can find it. It will also be on my website. So I try not to hide my videos from you guys. Try to make them as discoverable as possible. Oh my goodness, Heather C, thank you so much for the cute little dog sticker. I appreciate that so much. All right. So that's the canvas and the painting that we've already done. On the palette, what we have is Cad Yellow Medium, Cad Red Medium, Quinacridone Magenta. It's Quinacridone Fuchsia in the brand of paint that I paint with. Dioxazine Purple, Burnt Sienna, Yellow Ochre, Mars Black, Phthalo Green, Phthalo Blue, Ultramarine Blue. This gloopy stuff here is satin glazing liquid that slows down the drying time of my paint and allows me to glaze. It allows me to do both things. And then titanium white in the center here. So that's what we have for the colors today. And oh, we're going to be getting right in our materials into the artist tape. So that's a material that you'll want for this. Are you ready to throw up a step?
I am. So
we break these down into steps just so you can find your place again on a video. And we're throwing the book team a little bit of a curveball, calling it step 1, but you guys will figure out what step it is in the mini book, or the mini handout, or whatever we're going to call it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to tear off a piece of tape that's a little longer than the front surface of my canvas. And I'm going to come up to my horizon line, and I mean just as careful as I can do. I'm going to tape a straight line across. Careful as I can. And then I'm going to burnish it down. That's pressing it down with your finger. You can use a burnishing tool. You can use your nail, but what you're doing is making a very tight seal with the painter's tape. This is just painter's tape and your horizon line. And that will help you keep a level ocean, which is like the number one thing that will throw off your whole oceanscape. If your ocean is like kind of at an angle, it'll look like it's tipping out and you won't love it. It won't be your favorite. Oh, listen, we have Elizabeth Walker says, greetings from Camden, Ontario. So that's exciting. Camden, Ontario. Hello, Ontario. Burnish. All right. So then when we burnish that, I said we're going to call that a step, and then we'll get into the painting of it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's an easy step.
That's an easy step.
Easy step.
Step 1, you've got. For sure, you've got step 1. Now I'm going to kind of paint in the basis for what will be the ocean, and I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use my oval mops. These are 1-inch oval mops, and I'm going to try to create kind of a similar blended groove here. So I'm going to be going from my aquas down into my purples and magentas, then back over here into some purple, and then into some oranges. And I need to do a thing here. I just realized I need to mark where my sun is, or I'm going to be in trouble. So I'm going to just regret pulling this back because I burnished it so beautifully.
You can beautifully burnish again.
I want to make sure that I know where my sun is, which is right here. Oh my goodness. I got to put that back down so tight. Burnish perfectly.
Now, is that acid-free tape or is it just regular old blue painter's tape?
It's regular old blue painter's tape. I don't believe it's an acid-free one. Is stick an acid? Stick might be acid-free.
And one of the things.
All right, I'm going to make a little X here. If you on yours, make sure you mark where your sun is, because that will definitely help you bring your reflection out. Because you might have moved your sun a little to the left or a little to the right from where we're painting, just because you're a human being and we're not copy Xerox machines. And the reflection on that water is super important.
That makes sense.
I wouldn't bother you with it at all. All right, so we're going to start again with our oval mop, and I'm going to get a little bit of my glazing liquid right into it.
And that's a very soft oval mop.
Yeah, so this one is the synthetic one. This is Princeton Select 1-inch oval mop. They make a white one. You don't want that one. I mean, it's a great brush, but you don't want it for this. They make a black one, also not for this. What you want is the brown one with the darker brown tip. Okay.
Thank you, Shay.
Come down here and get a little bit of my Dioxazine Purple and a good amount of my Quinacridone. Thank you, Shay Joe. And I love that sticker. That's a great sticker. I'm going to put a little Quinacridone Magenta into this. And I'm going to come here at the bottom and start to just paint this kind of in. There's a purple sort of cast to everything down low, and so I'm kind of putting that in. I'm going to rough up about when I think it's going to go to my little blue setting. Comes almost to here. I'm just drawing a little line to like let me know where my burgundy and my blue is. A little more of the Quinacridone. Carry this around the sides of your painting a little bit. You'll be glad you did. So this is just like we did in the sky. This is just the layer one, right?
Just layer one, yeah.
We're just layering the first layer.
So yeah, it's a...
I'm going to add some more glazing medium to this edge here. And then I'm going to get a little bit, I might rinse out my brush some.
Gotta not grab the wrong controller.
Did you grab the wrong controller?
Yep. Let me turn that one off so I can't do that.
I don't know what you did, but it must have been fun.
I was trying to turn, I was going to move RoboCam just so I could come down and see what you were doing, and around the side, and grabbed the other RoboCam that's looking at you. And so
oh, Patty Hoffman for the coffee fund. Well, thank you, because I have been power drinking coffee lately. And I'm going to come right here and kind of blend in some of this orange into the purple. Just kind of start to blend some orange into that purple there.
You know, Shay said that you're part of her daily fix. And
thank you so much.
I mean, I have to say, it's so awesome to hear that, because like we really love doing this. And just this morning, Cinnamon was saying, you know what? I want to go daily this fall. And I'm like, we're going to do it if you think you want to. Let's rock and roll.
All right. I'm adding Cad Red.
Yep. Okay.
And Quin Magenta and Dioxazine Purple.
Sorry, I did lesson teaching.
No. Like I just like committing me to daily. Like I was just talking to you this morning, man.
Well, I didn't say you were talking about it.
I was talking about it. It's a true story. I come up here and bring this across.
There's no commitment. We're just talking with friends. Shay's like, I would love to see it. And I'm like, I would love to see it. So we'll just see how it goes.
We'll see how we survive filming Acrylic April. When I have that painted in. So this is just this sort of underpainting that under the water, and we'll move maybe the color of the water a couple places. We might shift, but it's just nice to get going in this space. I'm going to take a little bit of my Phthalo Blue and my Phthalo Green together, and I'm going to let it be pretty dark. And I will just sort of put this over here and kind of brush this down around the sides a bit. And I'm going to just blend that into the little red over here. Brush it over. I might take a little bit of my turquoise kind of up here. So it really comes from, it really is going to end up, the wave is going to be a couple of inches up and then kind of come up and terminate right about there. I'm going to rinse that out. Put that aside, and I'm going to take a dry brush and I'm going to kind of blend this together. Dry brush is going to soften it. It's going to blend it together. Make these transitions not be so hard. See how we're doing? So it's the second dry brush that really helps us. You can use a fan brush for this. Just any soft brush that you have in your paint bucket is really good. That's pretty soft. We're just kind of giving it a little bit of the first thought. I might move this up a bit in the purples, but it's okay to have it a little bit blue. But right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rinse that brush out. So that's just a little bit blended. And I'm going to put that to side. And then I'm going to do what we're going to be doing a lot of, which is dry the canvas.
Drying the surface.
Dry the surface, yes.
All right. So while we're drying that surface, we push that little commercial break button so that it gives us more time between automatically populating one in there. And I just saw over here in question, is this being recorded? Yes, it is, and it will be available on demand after this. So don't worry, you don't have to keep up, or you can always hit pause and catch up with us anytime, because this will be on demand. And it'll be available right after the show. So don't worry at all. And if you'd like to find out more, in the link in the description down below is all of the stuff like the traceable, reference image, all that kind of good stuff that you might need is just hidden right down there below that line.
I'm going to sip my kombucha.
Kombucha sipping.
I'm going to sip my kombucha.
That's a step between the step.
It's the step between the step. It's a very important step. Coffee, kombucha, these things keep me going.
Hydration. Oh, hello, kitty kitty.
Bonnie Hood says, hello, awesome people. Is this being recorded? Yes. Immediately after this live stream, this will be available for viewing. And we have left every video we've done up. Oh, I lost my thing. We've kept up every video we've ever done, and we have like 2,500 videos. Like, some of them don't even surface anymore. We have so many. So, yeah, we try to leave these up.
Can't go over there, kitty.
Did you get a visitor?
You see him?
Oh, yeah. That's super funny. All right, I'm going to actually move this line a good bit. I'm going to actually look at this, and it's not, so if this is the halfway point between the horizon line and the wave, I'm actually going to set the wave maybe a little more here. And to do that, I might take an angle brush. I'll find a 1/2 inch angle. I'm sure I have one in there. A 1/2 inch angle just hanging out, being an angle. And I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of my purple here. And it's a little of my Cad Red and my Quin Magenta together to get this purple going.
Okay.
And I'm going to very carefully kind of like draw a little line up with my 1/2 inch angle brush up towards this position right here in the canvas, almost like a finger down from the top. I can even kind of come in from the top and sketch that back.
Okay, so many questions there.
Okay, we're just going to sketch this little wave line in. Pay attention to the front edge of the wave a little bit. We're going to get a chance to set it again. I'm just kind of running that line. You can ask questions while we're doing this, though.
Okay, I just want to make sure we got you. So if I don't have the size 20 cloud brush used for the cloud, okay, that's cloud. I'll come back to that one here in a little bit. What's the difference between the black mop and the one you were just using? So what's the difference between the black mop and the one you were using?
Oh, it's natural hair, so it overholds water.
Okay.
It gets super sopping wet, and the white one is goat, and it also does the same thing. If you don't have my number 20 hog bristle brush, you could use a D brush, number 8 D brush, and get a similar effect on the cloud. I would just like work the corners here, so a D brush or, a brush that you've murdered. What I mean by that is like you've blown it out, like there's hair going everywhere. Sometimes those are good cloud brushes. Brushes that don't make good edges anymore can make good cloud brushes. So there's some choices. You can get some choices going.
And you can use any brush you have. Those are the ones that we suggest for these effects that we have.
Yeah. It gets us these good effects. I'm taking a little of my Cad Red, Quin Magenta into my Dox Purple. And I'm going to go ahead and paint that with my angle brush right now. Right here. Might get a little of my glazing liquid just so that this travels far. Now, right along here, I'm going to kind of edge out a little bit of an implication of the wave. All right, we have a little kind of waving come here. So this is that little foamy wave. Sometimes I will move this wave up when I look in relationship to it. So that's what I'm doing, is I'm creating just the beginning of the scape so I can make sure that I've got a nice edge. So I'm getting my purple in. Now I might take some of my yellow ochre and my Dox Purple together. I'm going to come in at the front. Paint a little bit of that. Yellow ochre and Dioxazine Purple. As I'm coming up, I might add a little more yellow ochre to this mix. I'll bring this color down. We've got lots of colors we'll be adding. We're just right now starting to block in. We're starting to think seriously about what's going on here. And grab a little bit more of my purple. And bring it up here and kind of brush it back a little bit. Little Quin Magenta, little Cad Red, little Dox Purple. I'm brushing, and I'm kind of like going to have a fan effect coming in. Brush that back a little bit. And get a little bit more of my Cad Red and Cad Yellow down to this mix. And start to blend that right here. Might use some multi-directional brush strokes if my paint has dried. or some glazing liquid. A little bit of my Cad yellow, Cad red. Kind of coming right down here. And again, we will be, bring this right up here. Right through there, a little bit of that orange. So we're creating a little bit of heat. A little more heat. There we go. See, we're starting to get the structures in. Starting to get the structures in.
They are.
We're starting to do it. I'm going to take a little, my Dioxazine Purple and my Quin Magenta. And come across here. Make a very, very fine line. Going to stop that line about an inch before the sun and start it again maybe inch, half inch after the sun. And then reset this line. Now I'll go ahead and get into my Cad red and my Cad yellow, and right across here I will blend a little bit of that red yellow. Okay. I'm going to take a little bit of my phthalo blue and my turquoise. Actually, let's make this another step. So we did a lot of mixes there.
We can do that, yeah.
Yeah, let's make it another step. Step 4. So I'm going to create my turquoise again, my aqua. But I'm going to get a little dox involved in some of it. I'm going to brush that across. Little diox involved with my turquoise. So the turquoise again is phthalo blue, phthalo green. And then I'm getting this dark color by adding a little dioxazine purple. And come down into a little more turquoise. Brushing it over. I get my glazing liquid involved. It's like I'm tattling on the painting. Come here. So my glazing liquid is slowing down the drying time of my paint, and it's allowing me to work wet into wet just a little bit longer. My dark color for up here. And then I get right into my turquoise, and let's get a little of my Cad yellow into that turquoise. And a little white. Now right here, kind of going on in the middle. And then angling up, we're going to kind of add this little highlight in. Now as I'm coming over here to the edge, I'm going to get a little more of my quinacridone involved. And that can even be in the turquoise. Sometimes I can reveal the color with a titch of white. I rinsed out I'm still using my angle brush. I'm going to take a little bit of my Cad Red and my Cad Yellow together. Make some yellow orange. A little bit of my Cad Red, Quin, and Dox Purple again. Bring that down a little bit. Get a little bit more into my orange. Maybe kind of along here. Kind of highlight with a little bit of light. Pam, I'm going to say your last name wrong, and I'm super sorry. Cowell, Wigs. I'm not going to do it correctly. But Pam, I have all of my paintings are for beginners, but this is for a more confident beginner, somebody who's done a few paintings. The reason they're all for beginners is I explain every color mix, I explain every tool, I explain every layer. Even if it's a 3.5 hour painting, it's explained in detail. And I have paintings though that are like under 30 minutes that are very simple in techniques that are for a beginner who like hasn't painted since grade school, right? Like, so you haven't seen any paint since like grade school and you just thought you might like to paint again. So I have classes at that level and I call those one hoot. And then, you know, if you paint a little bit, you know, you kind of know the names of tools and colors and things and you paint a little bit, but you still like need a lot of instruction and you need the projects to not be overwhelming, then I have 2 hoot. 3 hoot is like when you're doing 2 hoots confidently and you're ready to take on those big paintings, but you're not ready to fly solo. However, fun fact, Pam, there's a thing that happens in your brain. The mirror neurons in your brain actually paint this with me as you watch it. So even though you're a beginner, even though you may not be able to paint this yet, if you watch the video, your brain paints it with me. So it starts to learn these techniques. It starts to learn this information. So all the people who are like, I watch it live and then I paint it, they're actually doing the perfect thing. I went and monologued a little bit longer there than I planned to.
Awesome monologue.
I'm going to come in front with a little bit of orange again. Got like a deeply into that question.
That was a good answer.
Angela Maxwell says, can you use Southern Ocean Blue? Here's my answer for this, and this is always, you can always use Southern Ocean Blue. Even if a painting doesn't have any in it, you can use Southern Ocean Blue. Because it's just the best color, isn't it? That and Australian Sienna and Southern Ocean Blue, they make the most gorgeous seascapes ever. Ever. All right, let's dry everything.
Drying sounds like a great thing to do.
Drying sounds like a good thing to do.
So, thank you guys for being part of our community here and joining us. We really appreciate everybody coming and being part of what we do. It's very much a magical experience for us to be part of your journey. I was just going to switch over here. Oh, I do have it. Gotta remember, next step is 5. If you want to get notified when we go live, you can send join to the number 438080828, and you'll get a text message notification when that would happen.
Under my tape.
You're going to peek under the tape?
I'm going to peek under the tape. If I have a good line and it's dry, I can release it. I think I do. I have a nice dark line there at the back horizon line. That's hair fine. And I'm going to pull my tape. Woohoo! My sun is lined up in the correct place. And I still have just enough dark line right there. So just enough. So I'm just making sure I have a nice line on the horizon. Now, The reason I do this is so I can see the whole landscape at this stage. It's not that I don't want to protect my sky still, but it's just now I'm going to have to be just particular about it. Particular. I'm just trying to think what I want to do next. Because I have a lot of decisions here. I could come paint sand. I could come paint front wave. I could come paint back wave. I could paint back ocean. It's just, there's a lot we could do if we wanted to do it.
If you wanted to.
If we wanted to do it, there's a lot we could do. So I'm just looking at this going, what do I want to do here? What do I want to focus my attention on at this moment? So I think I'm going to grab maybe a D brush. Let's get a D brush involved, friends.
A D brush.
Let's get a D brush involved. Do I want a 0? I don't want a 0. Do I want a 4? I might want a 4. I'm looking for, I think, a 4. I want something between an 8 and a 0. All right, 8 it is. I don't have a 4 in the bucket. So I normally have a 4. The sizes I like in the D brushes are an 8. Oh, that is a 4. Woohoo! And then I have a 0. Okay. So I like an 8, a 4, and a 0. I'm going to get my little 4 out because it's fussy, but not too fussy. I'm going to get it wet, and then I'm going to dry it off. Jane Garrett says, does Cinnamon have any tips for painting ocean waves like this? I have a really hard time with them. They're hard. Yeah. They are challenging because they're action, but think of it as just any, like if this were crumpled fabric or whatever, you'd be looking at where's my light source, where are my shadows, and using those, you would create the form of it. And so the thing to remember is painting a wave is like painting a rock, is like painting a car. Sometimes we get in our own way to paint those things because we see them as, maybe particularly challenging in some kind of way. So that's just something to think of, is that you may just be seeing them as challenging when they're not as challenging as you're feeling. It's just the idea of the wave which is challenging. All right, I'll get some glazing liquid in here just because I don't want things to dry on me. I'm going to grab some Cad Yellow and some Cad Red. Maybe a little yellow ochre. And I'm going to begin to pull some reflection here. I'm going to brush this out. I'm using so if you've never seen a D brush has a filbert end and a blending end. So this is the Raphael D'Artagnan D brush number 4. You could use a bright, you could use a fan here, you could use a blender, you could use a Deerfoot stippler. These would all be fine brushes. What we're trying to do is just make these reflections coming back. Now I'm going to get into my turquoise a little bit. And in this case, my turquoise is quite light. So I'll get a little bit of my white involved and make quite a light color. I might even add a little of my yellow ochre to it. So if you guys don't know this is the paint from when we last did this. Mm-hmm. So it's from last Saturday and it's still wet on my Stay Wet palette. I'm going to come here and kind of blend this in a little bit. Brush that to that edge. Just putting in some reflections. I'll wipe off my brush on a towel. I might come here and sort of brush blend these together. That edge there, so that they look nice. I'm going to get a little bit of my Diox and Quinacridone. Maybe get a little of my Cad Red in there. And brush in a little bit of that kind of coming through there.
You know, I think I may be getting some commentary from Vigo about the lunch selection today.
Yeah, they were not impressed with us today. We did not blow their minds. They did not like the chicken. I'm adding a little more white to my mix of my purple over here. Kind of just dry brushing it back into where I know the wave is going to be. A little more white. Maybe brush a little reflection there. Come into my quin and a little bit of white.
Yeah, that's
Just brushing this in. Just from the right to the left, just kind of creating this. Now I'm going to grab a little bit of white. Maybe I'll get back into my light blue color. Add a little more here. It's a little more there. Just creating a little light along the shore.
neat.
All right.
More shore.
More shore. Let's get into a little bit of our orange. And let's add some magenta to our orange. Get my glazing liquid involved just so that it looks nice. And then I'm going to get a little white involved. Pull this out. Add a couple highlights here and there. And then I think I'm going to just pull that horizontally down. And then back across. So I'm just playing the horizontal and the vertical. Just painting the beach.
It's nice to paint the beach.
It is. It's nice to paint the beach. And just brush that up. I like to play that horizontal versus the vertical line. Sometimes that really helps things look reflective. I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of my darker purple on here. And just on my little edge, Had some little shadows. Just very lightly brush in a little bit of shadow. Just softly, leaving little breaks and openings, right? Like we're just trying to have this nice beach be a little bit of breaks and openings.
Yeah.
Just brush that across there. You're doing fine. You're doing good. It's a weird little patchwork. I'm going to
really
rinse
good.
this out. And kind of put that, well, I'm not going to put that aside. I think I'll come up here and work for a little bit. So let's put up a new step.
All right, we can do that.
And I think the next thing I'm going to do is really try to set my little wave here. So I'm going to take my dark wave color, which is my turquoise mix with a little bit of Dioxazine Purple. Smidge of white in there. I'm going to come here and make little irregular marks, smidge of white. I'm just painting this very rough. Make a kind of uneven edge here. Now as I come forward, I'm going to get more into my purple. And then through here, the undercolor of my wave. Will be purple. Maybe get a darker color coming out. Back into my blue. Just brush that across there. You're doing super good.
Yeah.
This is a complex painting. I have, if you enjoy this process, I have several seascapes at this level. Lakes, seascapes, lots of matching paintings. You could like literally put sunsets like this all over your house. I have that many classes that are like this. So if you're having fun, check those out. Now we get back into my purple. Another thing to think about on the wave is that this is the light source. So the highlights on the left side of the canvas will be on the right side of waves and at the bottom. So there'll be a run of light coming forward, creating shading this direction. So we'll have strong shadows here and strong shadows here. And then in the forward facing waves coming in, we can have that. And then you also want to show the light that's catching on this. And so like, if you look at it, there's light on the right-hand side, and then right through the corridor is light on the left-hand side, and that's where the shadows are. That's just to show that strong corridor of light. So that's why it gets complex in our brains when we're trying to like put those shadows, lay those shadows down. Good. Does it seem good? Excellent. I'm going to take a little bit of my Phthalo Blue over to my Phthalo Green together. I'm going to mix a good amount of white into that. Maybe get a little bit of yellow in it. Still using my deep brush. I'm going to bring some of this color back here. On the horizontal. Brush that forward a little bit. And the trick back here is like playing with the highlights and the shadows. So I'm just brushing this back, making short little marks, trying to capture some light on the little back horizon. I definitely want to leave a lot of dark. And come back here and add a little bit of this turquoise into my wave a few places, just so that nice color is there. This exaggeration of the turquoise just plays really well against the oranges. That's why we go into it as deeply as we do. Rinse off. And come in and get a little bit of my full turquoise, my dark turquoise. I'm going to come along here behind and kind of make a dark shadow. Then I'm going to get into my purple. Don't even rinse out. Get into my Dox purple. Need a dark color. Grab a little bit of this and kind of brush it through the wave here. Just sort of exaggerating that. And I'll brush out some dark shadows out in this water. And the roughness of the brush is helping me get that seascape texture. All right. Lindsay Michelle, I've noticed when I went on vacation and took a long break, my mom asked what happened to doing roosters. You might go back to your old ones. That's always a good idea, to take a break and then go back to your old paintings. Peggy Sterling says, I may have missed the answer, but what brand name is the canvas, and is it truly 12 by 12 as it says here? And am I still using Senolyne paint? So the brand of the canvas is Classic Cotton by Art Alternatives. It is a very square 12 by 12. So it's an actual 12 by 12. It's not 10 by 10, not an 8 by 8. It's 12 by 12, which is why the lesson takes a little bit longer, because it's a slightly bigger canvas.
If you notice on
and
the
I'm
screen,
still using the Acrylic by Senolyne, and I really like it.
yeah, and if you notice on the screen, the reason why it may not appear perfectly square on your screen is because it's a slight tilt of the canvas. You have to tilt it the other way to make it. There you go. See that goes. Then you can see it's more square. But she tilts it just ever so slightly so she can see it better, and the camera doesn't have quite so much glare on it. So that's why there's that ever so slight tilt that you'll see.
I'm gonna rinse out my brush just a little bit, just a little bit. Just a little bit. And I'm going to come in and grab a little bit of my purple on a fairly dry brush. And go ahead and try and see if I can do the thing where I pull a little bit of the ripple across here. And I'll bring some orange and stuff into that and break that up, but I think I might enjoy a ripple past there. And then I think I'm going to bring some of my purple here and make some short sketchy marks. Sketchy marks. These are short little marks on a dry brush. Mm-hmm. So I use this towel, man, constantly. My paint towel. It's seen some stuff. We're like that insurance commercial.
Yep.
We've seen some things. Listening to the sound of the brush on the canvas is a good feeling.
It is a good feeling.
That's one of the good things in life right there. It's one of the good ones. Let's call that a step, because we did a lot of work there.
A lot. Do you need to dry anything, or are you okay?
We're going to dry it.
Okay.
We're not doing any blending right now, so drying is...
That's a good thing to do.
Move my tape over to the side. I save my tapes. You can save your tapes. You save your tapes, and then you can use them again and again and again.
Keeps them from being too tacky.
Right? And then you can do the thing where I fold them and put them under my canvas to hold my easel from slipping.
Yep.
Make a little doorstop with them, so they're very, very useful.
Anti-slip pads.
Anti-slip pads.
You gonna try it?
Did I not try it?
No. I think you said you were going to try.
I said I was going to try it, and then I forgot to do it.
All right. Okay, so let's see here. I thank you guys. I'm just looking over here in the chat, making sure I haven't missed anything so far. Thank you guys for coming and being here. Appreciate everything. Dry your canvas. We're between the steps of the steps to get to the next part of the water. And we're there at the next step.
At the next step. I'm going to grab a little of my purple. I'm going to kind of come across here and crease my little shading. change the line of that wave a little bit. I'm constantly doing that. I'll constantly look at things and be like, then change that line a little bit. Well, that sounds like something was exciting.
Cat's coming.
I hear cats in the background. That's why I'm...
They're coming.
Now, this is just that shadow behind my wave, right? That's going to help me get there. I'm going to rinse out. And I'm going to come in and grab some of my Cad Yellow, a little bit of my Cad Red. And I might add a little bit of white to it. Now I'm going to come back here. Bring a little bit of this light back around. I'm going to come here. And add a little of this light here.
A little bit of the light.
Maybe there could be a little bit back here. I'm changing the angle of how I'm holding my brush so that I can work just my edges. Oh, Lucy DeMatt says, thanks for the beautiful work that touches the souls of so many. This is absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for your generosity. I really appreciate it. Maybe bring in a little bit of that light back there. Maybe put some of it right here. I'm going to load up some more. Can add some there. And maybe we add a little bit here. Just thinking about how that light goes. I take a little bit of my Cad Red, Cad Yellow, and probably a little magenta on here. Picking up a little magenta into that mix. Just brush that out. Little short marks. When I come out towards the left-hand side, it might be a little more into the magenta, and the right-hand side a little more into the magenta. So I'll pull that out there. Get a little of my yellow involved. So I'll be dancing back and forth.
Yep.
Dancing back and forth. I like that. Dance across your canvas. Adding a little brighter, kind of a little orange here. Maybe get a little more quinacridone involved. I'll pick up some white so that's a little... Just brush that back. Starting to glow up the ocean. Glow up the ocean. Give your ocean a glow up. Every once in a while, I'll stop and check the chat. So, just brushing this through. And while you're brushing this through, you can think about what a good job you're doing taking some time to paint and take care of yourself. I'll add a little more red into it. A little more red into these little marks out there, these little ripples in the ocean. I keep thinking of like islands in the stream and just like, man, it's like Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton in my head. I'm going to grab a little more yellow to my mix, come through here. Short, small little marks. Short little marks. Get a little more red in there. And I'll go ahead and grab a little bit of the yellow on my brush. A little bit of red. And just brush along this little wave. Just a little bit of a highlight at the top. Coming down. Isn't it a colorful ocean? Isn't it just beautifully, amazingly colored? Just all the rainbow. It's amazing how much color can be in sand or how much color can be in water.
Yeah, it really is.
I'm going to add a little bit of magenta and a smidge of white. And come over here and put some just pinky purple highlights out here too. It's behind the curtain or behind me?
They're behind the curtain playing with each other, and that's what you can hear him just go, trilling away.
He's a triller. Just adding a little bit of that pink out there. Kind of blend it into what I've got here. Bring it forward. All right, that was a lot. Let's call that a step.
All right, we need to dry, or are we good?
I think we should dry.
Okay.
Drying helps us keep control over everything. So a little drying will not do us any harm.
All right. So, if you find yourself hanging out there going, what do I do while we dry? You could always hit that like, subscribe, and thumbs up button. You always do that. That never hurts. You could leave a comment in the comments below. If you're in the live, well, you could say hello to everybody because you're already here. You can go check out our website, which has all sorts of cool things on it.
Many cool things.
So many cool things.
So many cool things. So many cool
But
things.
now we're on to the 8th step.
We're on to the 8th step. Step 8 is great. Marguerite's saying the painting is gorgeous, which I agree. Thank you. And now I'm going to pick up the same brush and we're going to work some of this work coming forward. Some of it coming forward. So we're going to take a little bit of our orange. Can have a little cad red in it. Little Quinacridone Magenta, a little cad yellow. And we're going to just come through here. And brush kind of from the wave with a little bit of straightish in the line. Kind of coming forward here. That's tape. You don't want in that.
Yeah, they're all over the place right now.
He's like, don't stop me. You can't touch me. Has anyone seen, okay, we're painting, but I just have to say, there is this video out there of a guy who put himself into a hammock on a bus and he doesn't want to come down. And I think of my cats when I think of him. Because he's like, you can't stop me. No one can stop me. Anaconda. And he spins around and he's spinning around. Everyone's trying to get him out of the hammock and he won't. It's just, I'm sure for the people on the bus, it was super frustrating, but it's maybe one of the most adorable videos I've seen. Yeah. And it reminds me of this. You can't stop me. I will touch things and look at them as I choose to, says the cat. And come here and just maybe get a little more quinacridone into the mix. And so I've got these little strokes that are like this coming here, but then it starts to come back into like these counter ripples, right? Because we've got waves coming down this way. Because they crash into each other. And then they send each other skittering.
Mm-hmm.
A little more magenta. Back into my cad red and my cad yellow. Just looking for it. Add some little bit of rough stuff right here.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Short little marks. You can come back.
He came over here on my desk.
Whoa,
Nothing.
no, you can't push up there. He will walk onto things. He's like, I'm going to walk right on that control panel, not right now. So I'm like, no, sir.
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
You say hello?
That's John. That's not the cat.
You say hello? Sometimes he answers back. No? He's just looking at it.
So I'm kind of bringing this down through an angle like that, and then I'll be able to run my focus light once I have that. I'm gonna rinse that out. I'm gonna rinse it totally out. And grab a little bit of my magenta and my Dioxazine Purple again. And come here and make little short brush strokes coming back through this way. hear the purring.
Yeah.
Adding a little white to my mix.
He's rubbing on my face.
Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous.
He just came up here and just decided to just come give me a face hug.
That's the best. So I'm bringing this pink through here. Moderator Rainbow says that their cat walks on the keyboard all the time, but the Bell other cat does not. And then Moderator Quinacridone says Bill like my keyboard, Calcifer isn't bothered. By the way, you guys name great names for your pets. Great names for your fur companions or for friends. I'm just bringing this through here. I'm going to be coming back with this like foam. I'm just trying to create some nice multi-dimensionality underneath what is going to be the foam. Okay, and rinse that out for a second. Put that down and I'm going to grab a round brush. Round.
He decided to venture off to the green screen.
Well, that's always a good screen. I'm going to grab a little bit of the Ultramarine Blue and Dioxazine Purple together. And then white. I'm going to get some liquid glazing in there just to improve the flow. This is not my whitest white for this. This is just the first color of the seafoam. I think it will be light enough for us to do this. And I'm going to wiggle this brush. And create a fascinating wave line. Fascinating, my friend. Glazing medium, where you need better flow or more water. What we're trying to do is thin the paint and improve the flow of the paint. Bring this up to a point. Bring that back. Where did I put my color? Bring that back there. So we're just catching the front edge of that wave. So we're starting to do that. Get a little more white involved. Just sort of tap up and down. This is a slightly lighter color than the first color I put down. I'm just tapping it up and down to make sure that it's uneven foaminess. Just pulling that through. Okay. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my white into my Seafoam upfront color, which is Dioxazine Purple and Ultramarine Blue. Make sure I've got lots of glazing liquid in there. And we're going to start to do the little wiggly foamy lines. Open them, close them. The trick is just try to make seafoam is just a lot of fun to paint, but it's a little bit of work. Come along this little edge here because it kind of ends right here. Forward brushes a couple places, but nothing too much. So it's about making these irregular patterns over the surface of the water. Your mind knows what it is, so it will sit there and it will tell you. It's important to create some ovals and close kind of squished circle shapes, because that's sort of what it is. It's just like these little openings and then they pull apart and are stretched a bunch of different ways. If you think of silly putty as maybe, you know, something like that, or when you pull apart objects that are kind of clinging together, little foam bubbles. And I find like it's just easiest for me to piece it all together in stages. I know I'm being a little quiet right now. I'm just thinking real hard.
It's a concentration moment.
It is, this particular one is a concentration, yeah.
Because you have to make a non-patterned pattern.
Non-pattern pattern. That feels to the mind's eye like it is seafoam. Again, I like to get a little bit of my glazing liquid involved so that the flow off my brush is nice. So I'm not fighting that, at least, right? Like I don't want to fight that. The trick is to avoid just doing the same circle again and again and again and again and again and again and again. If there is a trick to this. If there is a trick to this. And just full candor, like sometimes I go into this going like, I don't know if my seafoam's going to work out always at the beginning of painting seafoam. I just have to sort of like trust the process.
Always a seafoam adventure.
It is always a seafoam adventure. But you know, it starts to build up. It starts to look like what it is, and you just kind of go, okay. This is you got to get your Fremen warrior on here and walk without rhythm. What you got to do.
He came back.
The cat came back.
He wants to be on the desk, but I can't let him be on the desk.
No.
What is your... Okay, you can go down. You just can't be here.
He's knocking things off. Sorry.
Stop. He's attacking your cables. He's attacking my cables now. He's like, I am going to be here and mess with you now. Stop it. And he's small now. He's going to get so much bigger.
Yeah, we just had a visit, just a well-check visit, just, you know, vaccines and stuff like that. And he's almost 10 pounds at 5 months. I think he's going to see 25.
Yeah.
Just coming through here and...
If we all of a sudden go offline, it's because the cat decided to pound something on the control board.
It is a risk we are absolutely taking. So I'm just trying to create big openings, small openings, irregular patterns. Get it, sand dune? Whenever I'm looking at a project or a photograph or anything, I calculate in the time that this stuff takes in my mind. Because I know I know like when I see a very vibrant sunset like this, where it's vibrant across the water, vibrant in the sky, we've got sea foam. I know that painting, even when it looks simple, is never going to be simple.
Right.
Because it's just complex to change colors that often and to get that, you know, and still have it kind of look like what it is.
There's many mixes.
Many mixes in the mix. I'm just making sure that my foam kind of goes off the canvas a couple places. Otherwise it won't read right. We still on air?
Yes.
Good to know. Grab a little more glazing liquid, working that into my mix, which again is Dioxazine Purple, Ultramarine Blue, little titanium white. So the white isn't white white.
he's telling me, he's like, you gotta come play. You were doing something other than playing with me.
It's playtime. So just looking for spots that stand out to me. Okay, let's call that step.
Need to dry?
No, we're going to work over here with a different thing. We're going to work over here for a little bit, and then we're going to come back. So I'm going to get back into my number 4 Raphael d'Artagnan D-brush. I'm going to get a little bit of my Quinacridone and Dioxazine Purple. And I'm going to brush back. Let's get some glazing liquid on there so it's flowing nicely off my brush. So it's a glazed back. But I haven't loaded the paint heavy, and I haven't brushing that back. Kind of horizontal, and then it kind of curves, brighten up, and then it's going to come forward here and I'll make short little marks down here where it's darker. Some nice like little purple. Rinse out. See if this brush will give me the technique I'm wanting. And I may want to turn my canvas a little bit so I can do this.
Yeah, it's okay. You can turn.
Okay. So I'm wiggling the brush up and down. It's making little lines, but it's also making little dashes. You might want to zoom into that so they can see what it's doing. Here's a load on my brush. Here's a load on my brush. It's pretty light. Now hopefully I got my original setting correct. Just tapping up and down. It's just about connecting and releasing and creating broken. Make sure I've got a nice connection to my seafoam front edge. Now I may turn it again. I'm sorry. And I'm going to kind of come here and froth it a little bit. Let's go ahead and get a little bit more white on here. Maybe grab some of the turquoise that we had from earlier. We want not bright, but we want lighter than the wave color we have here. Just making sure there's lots and lots of paint to work with. So the other nice thing about the glazing liquid is I can have lots and lots of nice paint to work with. I'm just using the D-brush still. Whenever I sit on one brush like this for a long time, what you can then know is that the technique is not so brush specific. Just little rough, regular brush strokes. Sometimes I push them up. It's maybe a little more in shadow coming up this way, so I let the mix get a little bit darker. Making sure that my edges are wandering.
Moderator Quinacridone says, I reckon there's a shark in their waters, and I can guarantee it.
There he is.
Because if you don't know where the shark is,
You just watch the Malibu artist and he'll prove to you that the shark is everywhere.
then there's 3 around you.
It's just alarming. Maybe don't watch. Don't watch the Malibu artist. He's got a drone and he's found all the sharks. He's just got a lot of free time to ruin every beach for everyone forever.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, you think you don't have any sharks? Look at this.
Like right next to swimmers. Oh my goodness. I mean, nothing, he doesn't ever show anything violent or bad happening, which is why I don't mind talking about him. But he definitely, and actually I'll tell you a true story. If you see a seal, you'll find a shark. Like whenever you see shark, we go like, there's sharks in this new area. What could have happened? I'm like, seals.
Because
It's always
lunch is
seals.
here.
If they fly, like in Sharknado, it's because seals learn to fly and they will adapt. Because their favorite snacky snack is seals, which is just really unfortunate for the seals.
That's right.
Everybody loves to eat them.
I think that orcas kind of they were the karma backlash for that.
Oh, because they eat sharks and eat their livers?
Yeah.
But that's just one pod. So I don't know if you know this, but orcas have culture and they have different pods, and those pods are unique to them. They have distinct family lines that are multi-generational, and they have cultures, and exactly how I mean it is how I said it. And in one of them, and they're very picky about what they eat, and one pod only eats the shark liver. They just kill the shark and then eat its little liver. Another one eats whale tongues.
Crazy.
They're just very particular. I'm going to come across here. I'm going to add some froth up here because I just kind of really want it. So I'm going to bring a little bit of froth coming kind of down into that. Just an irregular little run there because I think that'll look nice. Could be super wrong, but I feel like I will be right.
I like it.
Oh, another like shark culture, not shark, whale culture thing they did is they would have a dead fish and they would carry it around on their head. Nobody knew why. Just for a while. For like 3 summers, this one pod of whales all did it. I'm going to add a lot more white into my mix over here. Make a lighter color. Lightly touch and make irregular strokes to create the sea foam. I sometimes like to flip the brush over and get to the back blending side because it gives me that like rough splattery effect.
Right.
Which you want on white water. Gonna have to get darker, so I'm back into my mix. This one is gonna be lighter than what I have there, but distinctly darker. So sometimes I wipe off the paint off my brush just to make sure I have a nice breaking up that line. And I'm gonna wipe off my brush. I'm gonna get a little bit of my Dox Purple on there. Come here and add a little bit of dark shadow to this part of the wave. And then I'm gonna come here and actually I may come in with my round brush to put the shadow underneath this sea foam coming forward because I just want a little more control in that. So I'm switching to my number 6 sepia round. Oh, I haven't said it all day, but I have an art store and all the stuff you see I have for sale in my art store, including that canvas.
Yes.
Sorry, bad at that part of the job. I'm taking a little bit of my Dox Purple and a little bit of my Ultramarine Blue and glazing liquid. I'm going to come along here. And create a very raggedy, uneven little shadow. See how we're doing? Very uneven little shadow. And take that same little shadow. And I'm going to go ahead and put it underneath my seafoam. On certain versions of the seafoam, you can actually cast a shadow on the sand underneath the seafoam where the seafoam, if the light is bright enough and overhead. Sort of interesting. I thicken and thin my line as I come around. And you can see just the shadow gives it form. Just pull a shadow all the way along there.
Yep.
Okay, while I'm here, I'm going to grab a little bit of my lighter watercolor. I'm staying on my round brush, because I thought it would be nice to have a little bit of seafoam back here. It'd have to be a little bit darker than what I'm doing. Lighter than what's there, but darker than what I'm doing. It's a hard zone to find. So I'm wiggling this brush up and down and making it go up and down like this and up and down like this. So it's going like this and like this. So I'm zigzagging and tapping. That might be hard to see, so I just want you guys to know that's what's happening. I'm zigzagging and tapping. Two things. I'm zigzagging and tapping. Gonna give me a nice irregular brush stroke. Coming here and just defining some of the line of the wave. Can totally do that. That's looking pretty good. All right, let's dry everything, and I'll come back and I'll show you what we're going to do next.
Gonna dry it.
Yeah, we're going to dry it.
Dry it.
Gonna dry it.
Go dry.
We're going to dry. Cha-cha-cha, cha-cha-cha, cha-cha-cha.
And if you guys are looking for where you can get your art supplies, we got a store in the artsherpa.com. You can buy stuff there. It's pretty cool. I gotta always remember to plug that because it's one of the ways that we keep the lights on. Also, you can become a patron there. Thank you to all of our patrons. You guys are totally what helps keeps us going. We thank you.
Thank you so much. So much thank you.
And now we are on to the 10th step.
10th step. That's not too bad. If we don't add up the other steps we've already done to get to here. All right, I'm going to keep playing with the value of my wave here. This one is fairly dark, and I want to just make sure that I've coming through and tapping, doing zigzagging, tapping up and down, kind of trying to add some shadow to this. There we go. Sit and think on that for a second. And while I'm sitting and thinking on it, I'm going to start to brighten up some of the stuff that's here. So I'm going to take my yellow into a little bit of my already mixed orange. Make kind of a yellow orange. I'm using my D brush. Brush down very lightly, lighter than that. And I'm making another little grip right here.
And thank you, Angela.
Thank you so much, Angela. I appreciate that. It's just like coming through here. Just bringing that back towards the light. Kind of working that wave a little bit back there, making it look a little bit better. Wiped out and just grab a little bit more, and I'm going to come to the edge of this and grab a little bit here just to show that there's some light on this foam as well. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my white. I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow. And my round brush. I'm going to load up on the tip. Making little bright lights coming down. Letting the brush kind of skip and run along. I think I'm going to take out that little orange I put there. Put back a little bit of my purple magenta. So sometimes I'll paint something and then be like, yeah, I don't really love it. And I just erase it. So just know you can erase things if you're like, oh, I don't really love it. Just erase it. Some like dark shadows. Let's look at this overhead. Take it all in. Wow. I'm actually pretty happy with that.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic.
I'm going to get a little bit of my foam color. I'll let a little pink get on it this time. Play with the little things. All right. We're not doing bad. I'd go ahead and grab a little splash a little more white there. I just push the brush up and let it be like irregular. I'm pretty happy with that. I think we've done a pretty deep study on this subject matter.
I would say you've done a quite nice study on this. The wave just looks so nice.
I'm liking it very much. I think
like
I
it a
might
lot.
want to tap a little white down my little light corridor, but just a little bit of sparkly white. So that's just little tiny spots of paint. So vibrant little sunset we painted at the beach
It's really amazing.
with some waves. Doing well. All right. I'm going to come here and take a little bit of my white over to my turquoise, my glazing liquid. I'm taking a small detail brush. I don't want to use a color that isn't in the painting because that will become overly distracting. Well, that's a fun two-parter.
It certainly was.
And I think we painted something really fun and beautiful that we're going to enjoy hanging on our wall. It's going to frame up nicely.
I think so too.
It's going to go with the other oceanscapes beautifully, and the lakescapes.
We've had a
Right.
really wonderful group of people here hanging out with us.
Thank you so much for you guys that jump into this challenge, right? Like, you're
Yeah.
doing so great.
Had a mid-show cat visit.
A mid-show cat visit, you guys, you know, everything. This wave, I would say, is the most challenging part of this, but like, here's what I want you to do. I want you to be very chill with yourself through this painting. This has a lot of techniques. It has a lot of color. It has a lot of value. It has a lot of light, dark play. It's just got a lot. It's extra. It's absolutely extra. So if it feels extra, then know that that's okay. You know? And I think while I'm talking, I might have John, if you can, zoom closely around the canvas so you can kind of see.
Yeah, sure.
Because sometimes overhead, things look a certain way,
let me
but
get the
up close they
controller.
look different.
Hold on.
And I just want you guys to know.
I'm real zoomed in. So let me come over here.
Amy's like, can you add some books on the beach for me to read?
So we'll go up here to the
Yes,
top.
we can. But it would be dangerously close to the sea foam, I think. So John's just going to go around so you can kind of see like what my brush strokes actually look like or what something looks like. So when you're looking at yours, you can be like, oh, that's how that was done. Like, yeah, mine's purple here, but she did purple. And so like, I just want you guys to see what I did closely so you can figure it out for yourselves. All right. Virgo Rules, Cinnamon, you're such a fantastic, talented artist and human being. We all have so much to learn from you. Thank you so much. That is really generous. I have a lot to learn from you guys. I got to go decide what we're going to paint on Saturday, but we're going to paint something. And doesn't that sound nice to get together on Saturday at noon and
Sounds
paint something?
wonderful.
I think that would be a wonderful thing to do. So I'm going to figure out what that is that's going to be the rest of my today's work. And this is the rest of your today's work. If you want to share this, right? Like if you're like either like super frustrated with it or super happy with it and you just need to talk to others about it, I have a group, the Art Sherpa Official on Facebook. It is absolutely curated and there's 50,000 very active members that are super kind and super helpful. And well, it's moderated, so we remove meanness. So you just report meanness and we remove meanness. Not necessarily a different opinion. Different opinions can be different, but like meanness. And you can have a strong opinion. We're pretty chill about it, but just meanness. Or something that could, now I've gone down a rabbit hole. But that's the thing, is we curate it. We have moderators. We do our best as human beings to make sure that the words and interactions that you have with your art are positive ones, so that especially if you're frustrated, you have the energy and strength to keep painting. So that's a great safe place to share your paintings. I'm also on all the social media. So you can share with me on any social media. You can hashtag me in the Art Sherpa or hashtag Art Sherpa, and I will be able to find you. So that's another way of sharing art with me. If you want to, if it's like a gift and you can't share it anywhere, you can always send it in to support@theartsherpa.com. Go by my website, theartsherpa.com, and check out a couple things. Check out the Traceables tab, because that's where these are always at. So you can find the Traceables, and those resources are free. You don't have to be a patron. Check out my store. You'll see that store tab. All this stuff was for sale. If you thought this was fun and you want to do more of this with me, I have a Patreon over on Patreon. It's a great way to support the channel. At just even the $5 level, you get a ton of new exclusive lessons every month. A ton. At least 2. Sometimes more, depending on what we're doing, like if it's a multi-parter. But you get a lot of stuff. We got the Zoom class. We've got some really cool things. So that's a great place. And then I really like how I can put traceables and stuff in there. So that's another good place you can go over and share and help support us. And I think I must need some food. Yeah. Because my brain is a wandery. I'm a little wandery.
I think it may be time to go.
It might be time for me to go and for me to eat and everything and do some self-care. But hey, a month ago, I couldn't have gotten through this painting. So at least I am doing better. And I hope you are doing better too. I want you guys to be good to yourselves. I want you guys to be good to each other. And I want to see you at an easel really soon. Bye-bye.